Wow. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Wealth Bridge. This is our maiden edition of a unique podcast, one of which you've never seen before. On this podcast, we are not just going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about money, financial empowerment, economic development, and all the nine yards. On this Wealth Bridge, we bridge the gap so that we are able to build the wealth. Now, if you're an immigrant professional in North America and you already know the reality, you can either have been educated, hardworking and highly skilled, and yet you still feel financially stretched. That's the reason this podcast was curated solely for that purpose, because the pressure is real, to be honest, people. The bills are here, responsibilities back home, kids, career growth, and the silent expectation. We just need to figure out a way out. And so today isn't just an introduction. This is our maiden edition of this podcast created for people like us, for our people who are building across systems, culture, as well as generation. And if you're catching this, my name is Modupe, and I'm joined today by my incredible colleagues who are licensed financial professionals, and together we are here for one mission. I'm going to have them take turns to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about the podcast and what you and I and other viewers, hardworking immigrants out there, can actually be expectant for on this podcast. I'm going to start with Adebola. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, everyone. This is Adebola, and I am glad to be here today with these two wonderful people. Like I said, my name is Adebola, and we are here to do something new, something that is going to impact the life of people. And I feel privileged. I feel honored to be part of this. So I'm a licensed financial professional, like Mudupe mentioned, and we're going to be breaking down a lot of things, clarifying, complex financial topics, bringing clarity, and actionable guidance to people. And our focus, we are actually going to be focusing on our immigrant community because of my own experience. I know that this community is really going to benefit from what we have, okay? From understanding, your finances, your banking, investing, and many more things that you can actually do to bridge this wealth gap that we see in our community today. So I'm hoping that you will be here with us and continue to join us and to learn more about this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing. You're welcome, Adebola. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. I'm going to trade now back to Ademola. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, it's a privilege to be here with you, wonderful ladies. My name again is Ademola, just like I've been introduced. Being on this platform, and one of the reasons why we thought about this is when you look at the diasporan community, there's a lot of things that are not sitting well with us. A lot of us, we left our home countries to come across different borders, but we come here, and one of the things that we see, like someone, Ben Franklin said, the one thing that is more expensive than education is ignorance. And here on this podcast, we'll be breaking a lot of things down and see how ignorance is eroding some of the things that we should be doing, the wealth. And one of the reasons why this is so important is we focus so much on education, whereby there's nothing wrong with education. Most of us were educated and we're professionals, and we know there's so many professionals across even the diasporan community. But the question that most of us don't understand is, how do we really make impact other than the education impact that we have? How do we start to make financial and economic impact so that we start to call the shots, so that we start to bridge that gap? So many things that we did not learn or we did not even know, coming from where we are coming from. But being here in this space, there are certain things we need to empower ourselves with. And those are some of the things that we're going to be introducing, we're going to be talking about. There's so many topics, and we can't just wait for you to just stay tuned and be part of this. Again, personally, I'm a licensed financial professional as well. And one of the things that I want to see is to see our communities thrive. We've seen our communities, we've been the second class, but it's high time we take our rightful place right at the driver's seat. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, guys. Seriously, I don't know what you guys are all thinking about now. You're listening to us, or whoever is going to be, catching up on this podcast. You're in, right? You're in for the best moment of your life, because at the end of the day, every single time you see us show up on this platform, we're going to be giving you all the great nuggets. You heard it from them. And I'm telling you, we're bringing diverse experience into this space so that we can be a blessing to our next door neighbor, to our brother who flew several miles over the ocean, right? Over the borders, just to come and make a living right here in North America. They've all said it all. On this platform, you're going to hear how money truly works in this system. When I say the system, I mean the North American system. You're going to be exposed to how you can protect what you're actually earning on a daily. How are you going to continue to grow or keep this money? How do you put your money to work in a volatile environment? And how can you even break through the cycles, right, of debt or financial stress? And all the 9 years, how do you build legacy that outlives your paycheck? But on this very first episode, we're going to be taking you on a journey of our experience as immigrant. One of the very core factors that holds the three of us together right now is that we are all immigrants. We're all immigrants. We're hardworking professionals who have been through it all. We've seen it all. We're still walking this journey. But guess what we're not doing? We're not just, holding back. We're ensuring that we want to go out there and be a blessing. And that's the reason why you're seeing us here on this platform. So I'm going to have the guys, take turns also right now to explain to us and tell us and share what their journey has been here in North America, and how has all of this been to us setting out to start this podcast. I'm going to, again, throw it back to you, Adebola.
Okay, let's talk about my journey so far here. I mean, like any other immigrant, when you take the step to come to America, because we are in America, so I'm just going to go straight and talk about coming to America. There is that dream, that excitement that's, you are going into a place with opportunities. That is the idea. And, everything is going to be fine. Everything is going to be great. And it's not as if things are not fine or great. But when you come here, you come to experience the fact that there is a difference in what you have heard and what you actually meet on ground. And I believe I don't have to even say it. Most immigrants have experienced this. We feel it's like a bed of roses, but it's not. And I have had my own share of my first job. It wasn't the kind of job that I wanted. Then I got a job that I was, proud of. And then a time came, and even with the job that I was doing, I just realized that things are not still the way I want them to be, financially, especially because when you are secured financially, every other thing sort of falls in place. And I have to try many things. I've done businesses, different businesses to try to just make ends meet, supplement my income. And I look at myself and I see that things are not the way I want them to be. Like, I have to do more. And in recent times, I've come across, I would say opportunities that have opened my eyes to see that what we lack to an extent, it's that education of how things should be, especially in the financial area. Is, knowing that your job is not the end of it. The job that we do is not the end. It's not going to take care of everything that we need, because I know people that we do those jobs, multiple jobs, and we're still living, like paycheck to paycheck. And the reason why we are here today is because we want people to know, to have that knowledge that there is a way out. You can't just continue to struggle, continue to do the same thing and getting the same result and still not want to do something about it. They call that insanity. If you keep doing the same thing and you're achieving the same job, which is not satisfactory to you. So I'm not going to go too much into, what's happened to me and all that. But I know that where I am now is not where I was when I came here. And it's not where I was 5 years ago, because I've been able to, allow myself to allow myself to, to really know what I need to do and take action to do those things, so that my story will be different and the story for my children will be different from what I experienced when I came into this country. And we want a lot of immigrants to also know this, okay? You are not alone. So don't think you are alone. And because there are, how will I put it? We have information. There is need for knowledge. If you will give yourself that chance, open yourself to actually get this knowledge, then you'll be able to bridge this gap. There is the saying that, knowledge is the new money, because ignorance kills a lot of people when it comes to this particular topic. And if we don't get the real information from the right source, you're just going to keep doing the same thing and believe that you're doing your best. So I'm glad that we're able to come here to be able to let people know that there is a way out. There is a way out for that financial situation. There is a way out for that job situation. If you're doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and things are still not the same way you want it to be, there is a way out. There is a way out. So don't feel that you're alone. And I believe that, we will be able to provide, information, educate our immigrants in this nation, about wealth, business, and financial success, turning complex financial topics, making them clearer, helping you to navigate the system, avoiding common mistakes and creating lasting stability, for yourself and for your family. So stay tuned with us, and let's do this together. Let's learn together, and let's bridge this gap. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing, Adebola. I am already excited. I'm excited. I don't know if you audience are excited. I am excited about what we have to offer. And I hope somebody will, find value in what we have to offer. And the summary of what she just said is, we're just not going to survive the system. That was what we determined. That, we might have gone through it all and seen all of this, but we're not just going to survive the system. We're going to understand it. And guess what? We're going to help others inside of it, right? Find a way out. I'm going to have Demola now, walk us through his journey and tell us what are those expectations in line with, his journey as far as this podcast is concerned.
Wow. I mean, just listening to Adebola's journey, it just reminds me, when we're thinking about this topic, the first thing that comes to mind is, do you want me to share the American dream first or the American nightmare? Which one would you want me to share first? Just so funny that, some of us came here not because there was anything wrong, but at times you leave where you are, you leave certain geographical locations because you believe there's a better opportunity elsewhere. Some even probably came here maybe because of their spouses. Some even came in maybe because of education. Maybe they wanted to further their their academic career. But whatever way, for example, for someone like me, I came here because my parents wanted me to come here. They believed this there was better opportunity here. And as I journeyed through, I thought it was a bed of roses too. Like most people that you come here, you don't get to see the true picture until you start. You think you think you've come into the American dream, like they tell you. But the very first thing that hits you is the American nightmare. But you know what? As you journey through, you will learn a few things. But one of the things that's really helped me is the fact that I've understood that you have to continue to grow wherever you find yourself. As immigrants, all of us can attest to the fact that education is something that's very key. But one thing that we must understand that is even more expensive than education is ignorance. And every single time when we come here, we're very ignorant of the community that we're coming in. You could be my Asian brother, you could be my Filipino sister, you could be my African brother. When you come in here, it's different. Your thought process and all the things you thought that you were going to see here is different when you came on ground. But as you journey through, you quickly learn that, man, there are really hoops that you need to really jump. And one of the very, very important things is, as hardworking as we are, we must not be content. And that's one of the things that we're going to be challenging you on this podcast with. Don't be content with that job. We have multiple degrees, but the value is not so much in as many degrees you accumulate. The main important thing is, do you understand how the system works? What is a system? System just stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Every single time you come into a space and you don't understand how the system works, guess what? The system always works against you 100% of the time. So as diasporans, we're going to be breaking down how to leverage the system, especially in area of your finances, and how do you bridge that gap, how to live a successful life when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your marriage. These are some of the things that we lack, or we've not really brought ourselves to par as diasporans. So we're going to be breaking down a lot of different topics here at this podcast. And I'm telling you, this is just the beginning. Every single one would want to hear everything we've got to say, because all three of us combined, we've gone through our different journeys, and we bring a lot of experience to the table. And trust me, you will be learning a lot. There will be a lot of value that we'll be bringing here, so that you will not have to go through some of the pitfalls that some of us went through. How would you like to have a do it for you, done for you? You just walk in and you don't have to maybe flip burgers, if maybe that's your story, as an immigrant. Maybe you had to sleep on, maybe your uncle or aunt had to kick you out of their house after you spent 2 weeks. Maybe some of you even had to maybe join the military. Why. Let's leave that. But whatever we all had to do, we all have a story. And I believe our stories are unique, and our stories need to be heard. But that's not as important as how do we continue to walk this journey? How do we elevate our community one individual at a time, one family at a time? How do we go to the next level? How do we start calling the shots when it comes to our industry? Maybe the political industry, maybe the economic industry. How do we start taking charge? We have the brains, we have the ability, we have everything that it takes for us to be at the table. And that's what we're going to be discussing, and we're going to be bringing a lot of value to you all. So please stay tuned and keep joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Excellent. Thank you, Ademola. Fantastic. I am excited. Like I said, if there's another word, I'm ecstatic about this podcast. And I'm really looking forward to how impactful this is actually going to penetrate to, the immigrant community. And like you mentioned, every single one of us will found our way on this land. We came for a reason. We came for a purpose. We came in search, right, for greener pasture. But we probably got, we met with something other than the pasture to start with. The conversation on this podcast is we're not going to have to settle by virtue of the fact that you found yourself on this sphere and then you think you want to settle. We're saying you can do way much more. We refused to settle. That is the reason why you see us right now on this platform trying to encourage you. We refuse to just, go on the same terrain and routine and refusing to take things on as we're being passed on. Maybe your story is similar to mine, whereby you had to go to school again, and you had to now, because you're looking for that additional degree to climb up to the corporate ladder. And then you now have the degree, but you have a huge loads of loan hanging around your shoulder. Many of us can probably relate to that. Maybe your story is similar to mine, that while you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, you end up finding the fact that you are still limited because you don't have the ability to stretch. One of the things I like to tell you, my brother, my sister, as you are an immigrant, if you find yourself in any sphere on the North American soil and your name is not on the door, you don't own it. So it's important for you to strive towards ownership, even while you're still trying to build your way. So if you're still asking and saying, what are they going to offer me on this podcast? We're going to give you financial literacy without shame. On this zone, we're not going to shame no one. On this zone, we have no judgment whatsoever to pass along. But we want to hold your hand as our immigrant brother, our immigrant sisters, our immigrant families, and walk through this path, financial independence, with strategy. We want to hold onto your hands and build what I called wealth culture with intelligence, so that we are not having to do the same thing over and over and again and pass the same nonsensity to our generation, to our children. We're done doing that. Maybe many of our forefathers did that because they didn't know any better. We are not going to cry over spilled milk. We're done doing that. We're going to make a change this time around. And while we are learning and building on this, we don't want to do it alone. We want to bring you along in this journey. Trendy topics. And if you feel by any chance you have questions or concerns that relate to your immigrant journey, this is a safe haven, safe space to bring it on. So we encourage you to definitely subscribe. We encourage you to definitely look out for this podcast, because we're going to be coming your journey. And on this note, until we meet again, this is the Wealth Bridge Maiden Edition. Our goal is so that we bridge the gap, we can together build the wealth. Thank you so much, Debola and Demola. It was amazing having to do this with you guys. I couldn't have done it without you all. Excellent. We look forward to another section and another edition. Bye, everyone.
All right. Take care. Bye.